me?
Oh, Bill Apter.
This is my table.
Bill, I don't want any trouble. I was hoping I could just join you for some dinner here at Fox And Hound.
You know what? I just happen to have a microphone with me and an entire set of lights here. And we are here. This is Bill Apter and Adam Cole.
You're always prepared, Bill.
Always prepared. Adam Cole, the TV champion of Ring of Honor, as you know. And we are here at the Fox and Hound in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. And you know, this, I know you've eaten here 100 times, and I have too. Great food, great service, really nice looking waitresses.
That's very true. That's very true. I'll tell you what though, I got my eyes here tonight on this grilled salmon. I'm so in the mood for it. I've had it before. It's delicious. Always delivers. I think I'm going to get that again tonight, Bill, after me and you have a little sit down chit chat.
Much too healthy for me. I've got to have a triple bacon cheeseburger. Have to have that.
Also delicious.
Also delicious. So I just also happen to have this notepad here because I do know that Ring of Honor has a pay-per-view coming up this Saturday. Now, depending upon when you're watching this, it may have actually happened already.
Right. Well, we're so excited because it's Glory by Honor, which is one of the premier pay-per-view events for Ring of Honor.
Number 11.
And number 11, and to boot, it's in Mississauga, Ontario, right by Toronto. So Toronto is one of our favorite markets to go to. The card is stacked, and to be honest, Bill, I kind of wanted to get you started on just exactly what we got going on up here.
Before we get into the whole card here, and you doing an unbiased preview and analysis, what I want to talk about is what is going on with everything I've been hearing, and he hasn't called me back yet, with Jim Cornette and Jay Lethal.
You know, to be honest, a few of us were present in the locker room when this was going on, and a lot of us just heard what had happened. Me personally, I had heard, and I had to see the video footage like the rest of the fans when they found out themselves. And Jay Lethal just snapped. And to be honest, in my opinion, I think he snapped at the wrong guy. Jim Cornette has been hospitalized. He's in really, really serious pain. And everyone at Ring of Honor just wishes him a speedy recovery.
Now, I understand that Lethal's parents were involved in this?
Right. What had happened was, the altercation was, you know, everyone knows Ring of Honor World Champion Kevin Steen kind of beats to the beat of his own drum.
Yeah.
And he saw Jay Lethal's parents at ringside and decided to spit on Jay Lethal's mother, you know, right in her face. And obviously Jay Lethal, not only being a proud wrestler, but a proud man, his mother was so good to him his entire life. He stood up for her, and he lost his mind. You know, to say that I wouldn't react the exact same way as Jay Lethal did would be a lie. You know, I love my mother very much, and I can imagine the hatred that Jay Lethal felt. Unfortunately for Jim Cornette, though, and some people in the Ring of Honor locker room, he took it out on the wrong people. Jay is just in a really, really bad state of mind right now.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. By the way, just to lighten this up just a little bit, I have challenged Jay Lethal 100 times to a Macho Man Randy Savage imitation contest, and to this day, Jay Lethal, you have not accepted. But he's got serious issues going on right now.
Right, you know, obviously now he has other things on his mind, but maybe I'll talk to Jay when he calms down a little bit, see if he'll take you up on that offer.
Okay. Now, as I mentioned before, you are the current Ring of Honor World TV Champ, but let's go down. You were kind enough to bring the all the matches here, and let's go down the list here, or up the list, and get your preview and analysis.
Sure. Well, one of the first matches that we have on the card here, you know, for Glory by Honor 11, is Rhett Titus and B.J. Whitmer taking on wrestling's greatest tag team of Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas. There's a lot of issues going on right now between Shelton and Charlie and Rhett Titus. B.J. Whitmer, obviously being a Ring of Honor alumni, coming back to ROH with a lot to prove. Rhett Titus, obviously, with that hatred that he has for Shelton and Charlie. And Shelton and Charlie are just not done yet wanting to beat on Rhett Titus and B.J. Whitmer. You know, to be honest, B.J. Whitmer and Rhett Titus got a surprise victory on Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas at the Ring of Honor television tapings recently. So Shelton and Charlie have a lot of pent-up anger going into this one. If I were to make any kind of guess or analysis on this matchup, I've got to go with Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas on the mere fact that these guys have been teaming for years and years. They've really perfected the art of tag team wrestling with those two individuals together. Whereas Rhett Titus and B.J. Whitmer, not to say that their win was a flash in the pan, but they just haven't been teaming up long enough. So I really got to give the edge to Shelton and Charlie in this one.
You pick Haas and Benjamin.
That's my pick. That's my pick for this match.
Let's go on to the next match.
Yeah, the next one we got is a Caged Hostility rematch. We've got the CNC Wrestle Factory of Caprice Coleman and Cedric Alexander taking on the Bravado Brothers. Now, what's so exciting about this matchup is both of these teams are just what Ring of Honor Tag Team Wrestling's all about. They're both so innovative. They're both so hungry. They both have so much. Right, they have so much to prove. And this matchup that they're having by far has got to be the biggest stage for both teams. They've got a lot to prove. And now, as far as to pick a winner, this has got to be one of the tougher matches to pick.
Yeah, but we got to get you to pick a winner here. Oh. You agreed to it.
Oh, absolutely. I'll 100% pick a winner, but this is a really, really tough one for me. On any given day, maybe it would be a toss-up. But for this one, just because of the matches that they've had lately, the performances that they've given, I got to go with Caprice Coleman and Cedric Alexander on this one. I mean, as far as athleticism goes, nobody touches this team right now. And as good as the Bravado Brothers are, I think CNC's got this one.
Okay. All right, that's your pick.
Yeah. Next matchup we got is a special challenge match with Roderick Strong with Truth Martini taking on newcomer Tadarius Thomas. Recently, I was in the ring with Tadarius Thomas.
Yeah, he's really trying to make his mark in Ring of Honor. He wants to be one of the top tier guys and do it very quickly.
Right. And I think he's on his way to doing that. When I was in the ring with TD, you want to talk about innovation, you want to talk about athleticism. This guy has all the tools necessary to make it in Ring of Honor. And the fans have really taken a liking to him right off the bat, which is very rare, especially for the Ring of Honor fan base. They sometimes can be very, very critical. But me being, very recently in the ring with TD and knowing what he brings to the table, I think one day he's going to be a main eventer in Ring of Honor. However, I don't think his time is this Saturday.
Well, what would, since you've been in the ring with him, look out there and what would you warn Roderick about at this point?
I think the biggest thing to warn Roderick about is the more and more you try to prepare for Tadarius Thomas, the more and more frustrated you're going to become. Because in reality, you cannot prepare for this guy. It's impossible. This guy is so innovative. He's so different. What he brings to the table is practically impossible to study. So when you go and you watch TD, you think you have him all figured out, but in reality, you don't. But however, Roderick Strong is beating the best that Ring of Honor has to offer, time and time again, year after year. So I got to go with Roderick Strong on this matchup. So you
think he's going to beat him? Okay. All right, let's go on to the next match.
Yeah, our next matchup, this is a big one. It's Jay Lethal taking on Davey Richards. This is their third matchup together, I believe. And to say a couple of months
Lethal right now is probably at the highest point of hostility I've ever seen him.
I don't think I've ever seen a man as angry as Jay Lethal is right now, and rightfully so. He's got a lot to be angry about. I was going to say, a couple of months ago, this again would have been a situation where it was a complete toss-up.
Yeah.
Davey Richards has earned the label of being called the best in the world for good reason. He was a Ring of Honor World Champion before. He's beaten the very best. He's traveled all over the entire world. Jay Lethal can say the same, but I have never seen this side of Jay Lethal before. And if Jay Lethal can take control of the anger that he has in Toronto this weekend, I don't think anybody can stop Jay Lethal. So to be honest, I have faith that Jay's going to be able to do that, and I think Jay Lethal's going to beat the American Wolf.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the next one. Well, we're going to save your match for the very end, so let's talk about the World Tag Team Championship.
Well, if you don't mind, actually, I was hoping we could talk about Mike Mondo and Mike Bennett real quick.
I wanted to talk about the World Tag Team Championship first, but it's okay. It's all right. You win.
Yeah, next up, too, we got Mike Mondo taking on Mike Bennett with Maria. These two are in a very interesting situation right now because Mike Mondo has played more head games with Mike Bennett than I've seen anyone play with Mike Bennett before, as in he's been really going after his girlfriend Maria. The things he said to her verbally, he's even kissed her on the lips. He's made quite the impression on Maria there for Mike Bennett's purposes. So I think Mike Mondo really has gotten in the head of Mike Bennett, and I think because of that, I think Mondo is going to be the guy to walk away the winner.
We have to bring this up now. In so many different wrestling companies, there always seems to be a lady distracting someone somewhere, and no exception here in Ring of Honor.
Oh, right, absolutely. And Mike Mondo has done such a great job of climbing the ladder here in Ring of Honor. And I think his personal issue with Mike Bennett, although he wants to get over this hump, I think it in turn will move him up the ladder, and he knows that too, which I think is why he's playing such great head games with Mike Bennett. I don't think he really wants Maria. I think he wants to move up to the top of the ladder, and I think he's going to do that this weekend.
Okay. All right, and now let's talk about the tag team belts.
Yeah, the match you wanted to talk about. We've got Scum, Jimmy Jacobs, and Steve Corino, the newly crowned tag team champions, taking on arguably the greatest tag team to ever come into Ring of Honor, the Briscoe brothers.
Sure.
The Briscoe brothers have proven time and time again, like I've said, like many have said before, that they're not only the best tag team in Ring of Honor, they may be the best tag team in the world. However, I think Jimmy Jacobs and Steve Corino are on one heck of a roll, and they've got one too many tricks up their sleeves. I can't help but imagine, and I can't help but think that they're going to walk into Toronto with just maybe one more trick up their sleeves. So unfortunately, as much as I would love to see the Briscoe brothers walk away, I don't think Jimmy and Steve's time is done yet. I think they're going to retain the tag titles.
And you have to understand that Steve Corino has seen it all and done it all, and he's actually got tricks up his sleeve he hasn't even pulled out yet.
Steve Corino is, again, I've said this before to you, Steve Corino, for all that he's done, is still incredibly underrated. Yep. And his mind is so intelligent, and so is Jimmy Jacobs. That guy's a master of mind games as well. And I think, like I said, they've never been more motivated before, they've never been more hungry before. To be honest, they're deserving to be tag team champions, and I think they're going to hold on to them for quite some time.
Sure, and now this time, it's shameless plug time. You mentioned they've never been so hungry before, so the place to go really for that hunger, the Fox and Hound, King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, which is where we're coming from. And by the way, anytime you want to see a WWE pay-per-view, free of charge, just come on down here to the Fox and Hound in King of Prussia and watch them on, like, how many giant screens do they have here?
Oh gosh, over a dozen, I would say.
Over a dozen giant screens right here. Come on, hang out with a wrestling crowd and watch every WWE pay-per-view. They're all here. All right, let's move on now to the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yep, we've got Kevin Steen, the current champion, taking on unbreakable Michael Elgin. And you know, it's been very well noted that Kevin Steen has been on a nightmarish tear in Ring of Honor, and no one has been able to touch him. His goal is to run Ring of Honor into the ground, and to be honest, he's on his way to doing that.
Is that right?
Me having been in the ring with Michael Elgin before, I think right now, if anyone could beat Kevin Steen for the Ring of Honor World title, it would be Michael Elgin. And if this was any other match in any other location, I would still give the edge to Kevin Steen. But this is in Michael Elgin's hometown. This guy has been more hungry than ever.
The hometown edge is so very important with the fans cheering Michael on.
Right, it's literally Michael Elgin and the audience versus Kevin Steen, because that audience and that energy that you get from them is priceless in moments like that. You know, I'll look back to when I wrestled in New York City and Kyle O'Reilly busted my mouth open and I was bleeding all over the mat.
Actually.
The crowd got me through that matchup, them cheering for me, them rooting for me, and I walked away the winner. The same scenario, hopefully without Michael getting his face busted open, will be in Toronto this weekend. I can honestly sit here, Bill, and tell you I think we're going to have a new Ring of Honor World Champion
the announcement you would hear if you were the ring announcer after that match is what?
Would be your winner and new Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion, unbreakable Michael Elgin. I think he's going to do it. I think Michael's got it in him.
Interesting, very interesting. Okay, and now let's get, of course, to your world TV title, Eddie Edwards. You've faced him before, and he has told me, he said, this is it for the days of you as champion. So what I'd like you to do is look out there and talk directly to him.
Sure. Eddie, you know as well as I do that me and your relationship goes much deeper than friendship, much deeper than former tag team partners. You know very well, it's been very well documented, not so much by Ring of Honor, but by everyone in the locker room, that you are very much a mentor of mine. Eddie Edwards is. Eddie has shown me the ways in Ring of Honor like no one else has, and I respect him so much. But the one thing that he taught me more than anything else, the one thing that you taught me more than anything else, Eddie, is that when you want something bad enough and you work so hard for it and you finally get it, you never, ever let it go. And Eddie, that very thing that I'm talking about is the Ring of Honor World Television Championship. All I've ever wanted since I became a pro wrestler was to hold a championship of the stature that I hold right now in the Ring of Honor TV title. So when me and you face each other in Toronto, as much as I respect you and look up to you, I'm going to take your advice and make sure that I give you every drop of sweat, every drop of blood, and every ounce of energy that I have to walk away the Ring of Honor World Television Champion. Eddie, I know how talented you are and I know how good you are, but Eddie, with all due respect, I will walk out of Toronto as still Ring of Honor World TV Champ.
Okay, so now give, before we sign off here, of course, give everybody the details, where they can see this, where it's happening.
Sure, again, this pay-per-view in Mississauga, Ontario at the International Center in Ontario, Canada. You can find all the information, again, it's this Saturday, October 13th. You can find out all the information for tickets at ROHWrestling.com, and more importantly, if you want to order it on iPay-per-view, this is an iPay-per-view event, so anyone from all across the world could check this out. You can find out all the information again on ROHWrestling.com. I can promise you this is going to be a great event. This is something we're really excited for. We're going back to Canada, and it's going to be a great night of Ring of Honor Wrestling action.
Ring of Honor Wrestling, you got to be there, and we'll see you at the matches. You'll see them right from the ring, looking out at everybody.
Right.
The Ring of Honor.